Hello, my name is Chloe Ailes, and my scenario project this year was on brain development throughout the years of life. Here you can see a diagram of the parts of the brain, and it gives a general idea of what the area focuses on. The brain is the body's central command network and is a crucial part of the central nervous system. It controls every voluntary and involuntary action performed throughout the body. Sections of the brain are affected differently by the way a child is raised from in the womb to adulthood. A few important parts of the brain to growing up are the prefrontal cortex, the hippocampus, the amygdala, cerebellum, and the pituitary gland. The brain grows extremely fast after birth at about 1% growth daily. Brains typically grow about 64% in the first 40 days, so the 1% is an approximation, and the brain growth can change from day to day. The whole brain is developing and changing throughout younger years. Premature baby brains grow faster than normal infants. This is because they're younger, and younger means faster growth. Early stages of development are mainly affected by genetics, but genes do not completely design the brain. From birth to age 5, the brain develops more than any other time in life. The brain keeps growing to about 80% of adult size by age 3 and 90%, which is nearly full grown by age 5. It is not fully developed and matured until about the mid-20s, but the majority of growth and milestones occur before kindergarten. Quality of a child's life shapes how their brain develops. Experiences affect brain development, so children are vulnerable to negative influences. Early years enable opportunities for making connections. To be healthy, successful adults important for higher level abilities to be formed or not formed in early years of life. Different areas of the brain are for different abilities like communication, language, emotion, etc. Loving relationships with responsive, dependable adults are essential to a child's brain development. Adolescent brains go through a lot. They are undergoing the last major changes until their brains will mature. So there are major cognitive and emotional changes, neurocircuitry, or the regulation of neural activity, strengthens and allows for multitasking, a great ability to solve problems, and the ability to process complex information. The ability to develop personal and lifelong interests develops. So teens think with their feelings and use their amygdala rather than their prefrontal cortex most of the time. This means they are prone to more mood swings, quickness of anger, and reaction to gut feelings. They are more likely to take risks and enjoy extreme emotions. They look for diversion, new experiences, and powerful emotions. They are likely to put their health at risk knowingly and unknowingly. Major developments can include the development and creation of intimate relationships and the making of identity, future perspectives, independence, self-confidence, self-control, and social skills. For adolescents, emotions are commonly greater than reasoning. This can be due to the amygdala, that is responsible for immediate reactions including fear and aggressive behavior, which develops early. The frontal cortex, the area of the brain that controls reasoning and helps us think before we act, develops later. So the adult brain is not fully developed until about age 25. It contains about 100 billion nerve cells, 10,000 different interconnected cell types, and it weighs about 1,400 grams, which is 3.1 pounds. A fully developed brain means all aspects of the brain have matured and evolved through adolescence and childhood. A main adolescent focus of maturing the prefrontal cortex has been achieved. The decisions are now thought through instead of impulsively made. Adolescents versus adults. Adolescents are more likely to act on impulse, misread or misinterpret social cues and emotions, get into accidents of all kinds, get involved in fights, and engage in dangerous and risky behavior, while adults are more likely to think before they act, pause to consider the consequences of their actions, and change their dangerous or inappropriate behaviors. This can be due to the adult brain being fully developed. The part that previously caused adolescents to act on emotion, the amygdala, has been overtaken by the now fully developed part that affects decision-making, the prefrontal cortex. This can also show a major difference in these two stages of the brain. The adolescent brain's activity is focused on the center where there is a pleasure reward. The adult brain's activity in the frontal lobe, so there's more thinking, planning, and reasoning going on. What harms brain development? Positive atmospheres can only lead to beneficial growth. When an infant, child, or adolescent are set in an environment full of abuse or traumatic situations, their brain's wiring and functionality can change. This can cause issues later in life, like with building relationships and knowing right from wrong. Alcohol and drugs can be poisonous to a developing brain. In pregnancy, this can cause many issues for the baby, and an adolescent is more likely to get addicted to such items and can mess with their memory and organization. Here's my works cited, and thank you for listening to my project and research.